Hey everyone, and welcome to this video. My name is Sarai. I'm a therapist, a coach, and a breathwork facilitator. And today we're going to be talking about how to work with your nervous system, but we're more so going to be talking kind of like the opposite, like what not to do in order to work with it. Do you ever remember when you took math and there was an order of operations, right? So we're kind of going to be using that analogy for today. So I have a lot of people that come to me, and this happened to me a lot in the beginning of my journey with all of this. And I would say it still happens, but I just know how to make the different choice at some point, much quicker, much faster. Yeah, but a lot of people who come to me for somatic work, and oftentimes it's anxiety, right? They are feeling really activated in their nervous system chronically, which is leading to burnout, fatigue, feeling triggered all the time, which oftentimes that leads to exhaustion. It just kind of it's this loop, right? It's this physiological loop, and it can lead to other things. But a lot of times people ask me, well, what can I say to myself? What can I do? What can I tell to my brain to make it stop? So maybe you're kind of catching on to see some things here, or some things like, what can I tell myself? What can I tell my brain? How can I talk to myself? And all of these different ways, although they're right, we're intelligent human beings. We just want to shift our state. We just want to feel better. Really, at the end of the day, that's all any of us want. We want to just feel better in our bodies. We want more inner peace, and we want to go after whatever it is we want to go after in this life, right? And so, with all of these different things that people name off, I find it such an incredible teaching moment. And if you're listening to this, I would really pay attention and I would write this down, because this is the key here. This is where I start off with everybody and our work together. Um, so, with physiology, right? So, when people say anxiety or even depression, right? So, anxiety is flight, right? Our flight response, moving away, worry, concern, panic, right? There's a spectrum to that. Depression is the free state, right? Collapsed, foggy. Sometimes there can be combos in it. We're not going to get into semantics because it is very nuanced. It's a little bit more in depth, but just to keep it here, it's all physiological responses. And so, in Dr. Peter Levine's somatic experiencing program, it's really drilled into us. Um, and we really learn it foundationally, because so many of us come into the program, all come from these cognitive heavy approaches, right? And I would say most of Western psychology, if we all go back and into the very early times, although there was some split offs that we're not going to get into, right? It was very like, analyze your thoughts, analyze your past, right? And that's still true, right? Somatic experiencing does address memory, but from physiology first. Anyway, so it's really about interrupting the physiology before even touching emotions or even thoughts, right? And this is because when someone, myself included, you, Bob down the street, when we're in a heightened state, and it's really, we got to change the language here, when our nervous system decides to go into a protective stance, because I think this is a really good teaching moment here too, is that the nervous system is predicting for us. It's our job to work with it and to be self-aware of it, but it has I feel like a lot of the language is changing too. Like, people used to say your subconscious mind, and I think we're finally like using the right language, which is your nervous system. Which your nervous system isn't in your mind; it's in your entire body, right? It's right now. It's beating my heart for me. It's kind of nice to take a nice breath there, because I'm a little excited, right? I'm gonna have a little bit of activation online as I'm, sharing this information with you. But it's doing a lot of things for me right now. It's kind of like helping me. My prefrontal cortex is online. I'm making sure I get to tell you everything, and it's also probably managing some other things under the surface too, right? So there's a lot happening chronically, constantly, and so it's our job to get in a conversation with our physiology and know how to do that, right? So, when people say like, how do I work with my anxiety through cognition? It's not the order of operations that we want. You actually want to address physiology first. It's the fastest and quickest way to interrupt a cycle. And this is why the thing is that when our nervous system is in an activated state, we're less likely to be present. Lost our words there. We're less likely to for our prefrontal cortex to be online, right? To be present, to be calm, to be curious, right? And that's just physiology. Has nothing to do with if you're doing something right or wrong. It's just science, right? And I think that's the most important thing I try to teach people. There's nothing wrong with you. Your nervous system is just trying to protect you. Our job is to work with it directly, to help it soften, deactivate enough so then we can actually go into releasing survival energy. Yeah. And so we don't try to solve activation through cognition only. It's a losing game, I promise you. But if, like, say, you notice your feet flat on the ground, you feel your body in the chair, right? You start to track neutral sensations. And, like, what I always thought I'll never forget my first somatic experiencing session I had many, many years ago before I actually went to the program. I literally thought to myself, this is the stupidest thing ever. And I'll tell you why. Because I went into that session in a very defensive state. My nervous system was in a very defensive state. I was in my fight state because it was trying to protect me, but I couldn't tell the difference. I was definitely not in a place where I had done enough work to separate organism from myself. Yeah. So anyway, I never went back. But I say that because these things might seem so simple and they're easy to dismiss. And I say that because it's just what I thought is I'm gonna be fully transparent. But what's happening on a neuroscience level um, is that you're helping your nervous system come back into homeostasis. And that's really what it wants. Because once it gets into homeostasis, it goes from contracted, right? Fight, flight, even freeze, although freeze is more nuanced. I'll do a video at some point one day. Fawn 2, we're not going into all of that today though, is that we just help bring in neutral to pleasurable. So the muscles, the tissues, everything can begin to soften and take off the activation on the nervous system. So this is where you want to start every single time you feel activated. And I work with a lot of different people who come with very similar issues because I tend to enjoy working with particular things, right? So I work with a lot of practitioners, coaches, and therapists who are, they're wanting to go deeper in their own inner work so they can make more impact and serve more deeply with other people. Because the more regulated we are as practitioners, the better we can just serve and hold space, et cetera, et cetera. I help a lot of people just work with anxiety, right? Like a flight response. I help a lot of people work with their bringing online their fight response, their healthy healthy aggression. I guess regression too. Why not? But um, because a lot of times our fight response was taken away from us at some point in our history, right? And so I help people bring that online. If they have a fawn dominant, right? That's like you're people pleasing, appeasing a lot, right? And getting that fight response online, helping people come out of freeze, right? This is burnout, this is exhaustion, this is feeling like I just don't want to. The nervous system just doesn't want to, right? It's at capacity, it's been in survival way too long, and it's going to pull the survival lever down, because that's its job. Um, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people who, parents, right? A lot of parents I work with, becoming a parent. Wow, a woman goes through so many different changes, right? Identity shifts, physical changes, so many things are happening in the nervous system. Um, and I work a lot with people who are in conflict with their partners, right? Because when you get in partnership, the gift of that, right, is all our stuff is inevitably going to come up, and it's kind of like a petri dish. And um, when you learn how to do the dance, it's a lot more fun, and you understand that triggers are actually opportunities for growth. But if you don't have the skills to walk through it, it just kind of feels like a mess, right? Um, so those are different layers I work with, and other people as well, but I would say that's kind of the bulk of it, right? And so if any of this interests you, if you're like, wow, I have been trying to think my way through everything, I have spent my years talking about things I've been going through, I've done really intense approaches, like maybe you've done psychedelics or maybe you've done really aggressive therapies, and you felt like in session it like really helped, but in between sessions it's like I'm a mess. I feel like I took like too much came up and now I have to integrate it on my own. I understand that very well, by the way, because I personally, as some of you know, I was very involved. My entire brand and everything was revolving around psychedelics. I still believe in psychedelics, but I believe we need to be more conservative in our approach because people still need to go home and integrate, you know, and that's just not talked about enough, I believe. So, anyway, what I mean by that is that how can you work directly with your sensory motor system so you can feel the natural waves of it up and down and not feel stuck, basically get yourself unstuck so you can feel emotional freedom, right? When you have emotional freedom, you feel free in your partnership, you feel free in your career, you feel free in your business, you feel like you have ownership over your life. And I truly believe, and I'm still learning too, the way, I am still a student of this work and I'm still on my path as well. And I truly believe that Everyone deserves that, everybody, so if you've been kind of I've been doing journaling, meditation, all these things, but it's just something still feels off. I feel like I could, you know go a little deeper, then please reach out. I left some links down below. You can start with a lot of different things, including my somatic starter kit. I also have a private online community where it's like a group setting. You get a course, and then you can also go deeper in the community and ask your questions, or you can sign up for 3 months, 6 months, or a year with me for private somatic work. So all of those are available to you, so put the links down there below. And I would love to assist you. I would love to help you. And I think it's important to name this is that when we're actually in a session together, we really do the somatic tracking. That's why I feel like the somatic starter kit is a great place to start, because you'll really get a taste of like what this work really is. A lot of times when I come on my channel, I'm kind of like talking and I'm explaining a lot, but when we're in session together, it's a lot of about, we do talk, by the way, but it's a lot of tracking your own nervous system and getting very intimate with it. And so you can actually take the tools and use them outside of session. So you can deeply experience, right? So it's called somatic experiencing, because that imprints more deeply than talking could ever do, right? Because our nervous system is a memory system. And so when you actually feel something, it goes way deeper into your nervous system. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like this. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time. And if you have any questions, please post them below. I would love to hear from you. I read all the comments. So please ask me your questions, no matter what it is. That really helps me help you. If you kind of raise your hand and being like, I don't know what you're talking about, or can you share that more? I would love to answer your questions. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon.